Welcome back. In this episode, episode 4, I want to talk about the coveted ultra brutish, my term, 1959 and 1960-61 dynapowereds. They're quite rare. They are probably too expensive for you to want to add them to your bag, but I think it's something I should address in case you happen to see one of these in a barrel or online at some unusual price that would allow you to buy them. They're very highly regarded, and I'm going to show the 59s to you. These have very heavy swing weights. One has an F9, not an E9, but an F9, and it's far heavier than even the 56, 57 Brute, which, as I recall, was E8. So this is, aside from the 1954 that I'll maybe show you later, this is the heaviest of all of the sand wedges. It's got the tall L in Wilson, which is a giveaway. It's got a pin shaft, as you can see. It does not have the arrow on the hosel that the 58 has. It has nothing bordering the grooves. It's just a big, heavy club with quite a bit of bounce, actually. Maybe you can see it. Substantial bounce, very wide sole, so it's going to resist digging. Here's the other version, and I have no idea why Wilson seems to have made two 1959s. The reason I say it's 59 is it's got a pin shaft. It's got the shaft itself is the type that was used on the 58, and it was phased out by 1960. It does not have the arrow on the hosel, and it's got the tall L in Wilson. So I think it's a 59. It too is very heavy. It's an F0, so it's a beast. And I think one of the 59s possibly is one of them that Tom Watson used, but again, we just don't know. And the 59 was not the subject of the remake the Wilson later did with respect to the 58. So you'll notice that both of those have a smooth back pad. There's no ridge right here, unlike the 56, 57 and the 58. And the wedges, the sand wedges, would not go back to that that ridge until much later. In the 80s, some came out, and the JPs, the JP2 grinds, I think, had a ridge. But one Dynapower version that did have a ridge was the triple duty and the dual wedges, which I'll discuss later. But in terms of sand wedge, the 58 is the last year with the ridge. At this point, and these are very expensive before we leave, I think these 59s would go for $150 to $200 unless they are way underpriced by someone who doesn't understand what they've got. At this point, I want to touch upon a custom club. It sure looks a lot like the 59. It's got everything's very similar there, but the Wilson does not have the tall L. It has a short L, and there's no pin shaft. So I'm unsure. It's got a black plug like the 59, that other 59 I just had in my hand, but then it's got the red arrow. So it's really a strange mix of stampings. I think it's a custom club, and that the giveaway, and this will be hard to see, but you can see in very tiny type, not even legible on this film, the stamping largely worn away is T1125. And I think that must mean that it was a tour club made specially for a tour player. Wilson did custom work for a lot of tour players, and that's a club that largely fits in with the 59s. Again, heavy bounce. You can see the bounce. Quite heavy, and the swing weight is a bit lighter at D9, but that's kind of I view it as a customized copy of the 1959s. Then we come to the 1960s, which are also pricey. These are, again, smooth-backed clubs. There are two versions that are slightly different from each other, and the way in which they are different is the width of the sole, the amount of bounce, and the flipped lines up at the top of the back pad. One has staff model at the top, the other has staff model running second. Wilson and staff model are flipped. Pin shaft in both. This was the 61 was the last year with a pin shaft. It's the only year that had yellow rings for the ferrules. And frequently when you get a hold of a 61, the yellow rings will be missing. Here I'm fortunate enough to have them. The shaft in these years is no longer, and I'll show you 59, it's no longer a Pro-Fit shaft. You can kind of see as I twirl it here, it says Pro, and I guess the fit is largely worn away, but that's notable because it's got, you know, the black lines on. Here's the other Pro Fit. You know, fit is in small print underneath the word Pro. That's the shaft used in the 58s and 59s. In 60, they always bought their shafts from True Temper, as far as I can tell. But here, they've gone to a new type of True Temper known as the Staff Pro. Hard to read, but Staff Pro is what that is. And you will see Staff Pro through, I think, 66 or 67. And they started switching into aluminum and started switching into the so-called ultralight. So there's this is a short segment on I should add that the 60, 61s probably go for about $100. There's one on eBay right now. I think the guy originally listed it for $99, and now it's up to $127 for some reason. He raised the price on it. But anyway, those are still pricey, although not compared to a new Vokey or whatever. They're about the cost of a new Vokey. But the next ones we'll move into in the next segment, the 62 through 65s. Those are much more affordable and probably will provide the wedges from which you will wanna buy if you don't want to go out and spend a lot of money on reconfiguring your bag into the 2-sand wedge model that I'm suggesting. So thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time, where we'll deal with the 62 through 65s. Thank you.